Hey there, my name is Dana Silvestri, and I want to share my story with you. My true, authentic, my raw, my uncut story, because I want to use myself as an example for you and everyone that watches this, that you can turn your mess into your message, and you can help a lot of people by doing that. And by not doing that, even though there's a fear of criticism, I understand that you are actually doing a disservice to the world and to those people you could have impacted. So anyways, I'm from Wakefield, Massachusetts, and I grew up very shy. I had a speech impediment. I remember my parents would introduce me to people, and I would hide behind my parents vividly in my mind. And also I remember I was very shy. I remember people throughout my life saying, "Why don't you talk a lot? Why are you so quiet? Are you ever going to talk?" And it really bothered me in that sense. And as I got a little bit older, I started to take on my entrepreneurial spirit. I remember I would sell packs of gum, candy, to help people, supply and demand, I guess, in that sense. I would sell it at school illegally, but I would help people out. I would give them what they wanted, and I would make some money while doing that. Then I went on to flipping things on Craigslist and everything like this, but deep down I still had an issue. I remember I would play sports in high school, and I would baseball, and I'd be at bat. I was really good, but in my mind it wouldn't be focused. I'd be everywhere but focused. I'd be focused on everybody in the stands, if this girl was watching, if my friends were there, if my parents were there, and everything like that. And I didn't understand that not everyone goes through this. We all have different perceptions. We all have different upbringings. And as I got a little bit older, I started to understand why these things were happening. So what really happened at the end of high school, I fell into a cycle of partying on the weekends. And this went on for years and years. I went to college. I didn't have any purpose. I didn't have any goals. I didn't really know what I wanted. So nothing wrong with my parents or nothing wrong with society, but I conformed, and I just said, okay, I'm just going to go do what everyone else is doing and just go with that because I don't have my own plan. So before I went to college, actually, at age 16, I lost my aunt and uncle to cancer in the same year. And that was devastating to me because that was the year that I started to be healthy. I started to work out. I was 16 years old. I remember I weighed 135 pounds, and 6 months or 8 months later, I was 175 of pure muscle. I worked out that hard because I didn't want that to happen to me. I didn't want to have that same result in my life, and I never wanted anyone else to have that. And when I actually started to working out, my self-image, my confidence and stuff started to get better in that sense as well. Anyways, I went on to college. I still was in the cycle of partying and just being in the groove, having a big social life and everything like that. And I got in a lot of trouble in college, I'll be honest here. I ended up having to leave one of my schools, got in trouble, arrested multiple times, everything like this. And at age 21, something big happened to me as well. I remember it was on a Saturday morning, and it was after a night out. I went out in Boston all night. I stayed out to 3 o'clock in the morning at age 21. That's what a lot of people did. And I didn't have any path or anything like that. I didn't know better. And I remember I woke up to a text it was my ex-girlfriend I'd broken up about 6 to 8 months before. And I basically found out that she passed away in a car accident the night before. And I was devastated. It wasn't only just my ex-girlfriend. We were still kind of talking in that stage. We were best friends in that sense. It was another sense of loss. So I started to ask myself these big questions. Why am I here? What am I here to do? What is my purpose? Am I fulfilling that? Why aren't I doing that now? We're not granted tomorrow. And everything like this. And as I did that, my perception of time changed. My perception of urgency changed. Everything around me started to change in that sense. But the problem was this. I still didn't know what to do, so I just went on with my college. I graduated my bachelor's in business administration, management, marketing, and I got my first corporate job. And I was so excited that I had my first corporate job. And for what I heard, this is what you do for the rest of your life. You're going to love it and everything like this. It's the real world and all this. And I found myself, I was sitting in the office. I was underpaid, underappreciated, undervalued, and I was not contributing. Something within me, within my heart, within my soul told me that I could do so much more. But I had a couple limiting beliefs still going. I thought I was stupid. I didn't think I was smart. I wasn't a reader. I didn't know anything about what I wanted to do. So I just stayed there, and I went through that cycle Monday through Friday for living for a paycheck that a lot of people do. And corporate jobs and jobs like that are good for a lot of people, but it wasn't a good fit for myself. So finally, one day I stopped and I said, I'm not going to take this anymore. I need to do something. And I remember this day specifically. I was sitting on a ski lift. I went to CVS because I was listening to a bunch of podcasts and stuff. And I found out that a lot of people journal them down and they write out their goals. And I was like, what's a goal and what's the purpose and why am I journaling and all this? But I went to CVS and I sat on a ski lift. It was like a 85-degree summer day on a ski lift, kind of random, I know. And I mapped out my whole life with no limits, as if, imagine you won the lottery and you could do whatever you wanted. Wave a magic wand and you could have whatever you wanted in life. I mapped out my whole life in that sense. And I realized I had a breakthrough moment, an insight, and this may help some of you, that the life that I was living, the journey that I was going on, that I was going to create, could never end up here. There was no possible way at that moment. So at that moment, I realized I had to make a change. I needed to switch everything I knew. I needed to reroute myself. I needed to find mentors. I needed to invest in myself. So I started to invest multiple thousands of dollars into myself. And this is back when Zoom wasn't big. I came up with this plan. I was going to launch a one-day event or a weekend event online, and I was going to make $20,000 and $30,000. I was going to help all these people. And that was my plan. And I found out I had no experience. I didn't know how to use Zoom. I was afraid of public speaking. All these self-limiting beliefs started to come up, and I didn't know what to do. So what I really did now, I did it anyways. I went on and I launched the Zoom, and 2 people showed up. It was myself and my girlfriend. So nobody showed up at all. And this is the issue here, is that I didn't know much about marketing, internet marketing. I never did any of that. So I never actually drove traffic to the event. No one showed up. And what I did for 8 hours, myself and my girlfriend, we acted like there was 100 people on the call. And we did the whole event as if with full intention and delivered. Anyways, I hit a bunch of problems still. I hit a bunch of conflicts after this. I wanted to give up. I didn't know what to do. I found that I was scared of public speaking, and I was kind of thankful that no one showed up. As bad as that seems, it was a real feeling I had. I was like, oh yay, no one showed up. I realized that I didn't even set up my Zoom account correctly, so if people showed up, I would have butchered the whole thing. So I now found the major thing that held me back was my fear of public speaking, and that might have came from my shyness or my speech impediment in the past, or however that worked. But I remember I sat down with my girlfriend again one day, and I was looking for coaches on public speaking and all this stuff, and I was very overwhelmed. And she pulled over a laptop to me, and she said, let's do this. I looked down. It's a 6-week stand-up comedy class. I was like, what? I'm not going to do stand-up comedy. Like, I'm scared of public speaking. I thought speaking on Zoom was bad enough. I'm not going to go in front of people and then have to make them laugh and do it on a stage. No way. So anyways, she said she was going to do it. And I said, I'll do it with you. We clicked that button. We bought those tickets. We went through that 6-week class. I knew nothing about stand-up comedy, by the way. I consider myself funny or whatnot. You can be the judge of that. And I went through that 6 weeks, and we went up there. We learned how to write jokes. We learned how to do these. I remember I was up on stage speaking in front of the class alone, shaking. I felt all hot. I felt red. I felt like everyone was watching me and everything like this. But long story short, I did a final, I think it was a 5-minute bit. The people invited people to, and I accomplished my goal of doing that. And not only that, I did a few more professional stand-up comedy shows that people actually paid for. And I was an amateur. I didn't know what I was doing, but I went up on stage. I worked that muscle. And in a sense, I battled through that self-limiting belief of the public speaking, and that led to me to put out content every single day. That led to me put out live videos about what I was passionate about and show myself online. That led to me getting one-on-one clients and growing my business up, my consulting business now it was. I didn't know at the time. I started to grow that business at the bottom line. I started to make more income. I started to get one-on-one clients. And then I realized something. I still needed help. We always need help in some way or sense. So what I did is, I remember watching a podcast, and it was Lewis Howes and Bob Proctor and the School of Greatness. It's a really good podcast. I listened to it 2 times. And after I listened to it, I sat there and I was like, I need to get around this guy Bob Proctor. I need to get in front of Bob Proctor. The things that he was saying were so cool. While I was investing in myself, I realized that these people thought differently than what I was taught. They thought about differently. They thought about money differently. They thought about entrepreneurship differently, about life differently, and I was obsessed with it. So I wanted to learn more. So I remember I went over to my desk and I pulled out an old notebook from about 3 years ago. I opened that notebook, and ironically it opened to a quote from the guy Bob Proctor that I just watched from like 4 years ago from Twitter that I printed out and put into my notebook. And that was a sign to me. So what I did is I started to invest in some of his programs, and I started to use that with my life and my business. Eventually it led to me printing out a picture. It was kind of like a vision board, a picture of myself and Bob. It was fake, it was photoshopped. And I kept it on my phone for 8 months. I kept it at my desk for 8 months. And I found myself on a call with the legendary Bob Proctor. He's one of the best teachers in human potential and success in the world today. And he's been in business for over 60 years. On a call with him, and I made a decision that I was going to partner up with him. We did it together. So I took that leap of faith. I took that huge leap right there, and that led to basically my business blowing up completely. And I'm not all about the money here, but I'm making more impact. I was able to make what I made in 6 months in my job, I now make in a month. And not only that, the transformation that I had within me, I no longer was that person with no goals. I no longer was that person that didn't have a purpose. I no longer was that person that just wanted to go out and party and not think about the next day. I created a vision. I created this person. I created this person that just takes action on a daily basis. I created this person that wants to give more. I pulled back the layers of that onion and exposed who I truly was. And it was the scariest process of my life, but also the most fulfilling of my life. So that is my story right here. And I wanted to share that with you so that you can know that I'm not just a person on here, a talking head, that I have a story, that I fed you a little bit from that story so you can understand who's going to be talking to you, whose group you're in, and everything like that. So my message for you today is, what's your story? If you're going through a struggle right now, you can take control of that. You can take that mess and turn it into your message. Just know that you can take the lessons and wisdom from that, and you can compel yourself into the future and bring it back to the present, and you have unlimited potential. If you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. And that's my message for you today. So I hope you enjoyed my story, and I would love to talk to you as well. So reach out whenever you want, and I will see you next time.